hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Otis Frampton Live. I'm glad to be here. I've had a bit of a morning, so it's really nice to be back on the show. Doing this show. Because I get to talk about comics today. That's always fun. I actually get to make comics today. That's always fun. So I am glad that you're all here. Glad you... Oops. Still working out the bugs. I apologize. All right, here we go. To everybody on Instagram, X, YouTube, Rumble, and Facebook, thank you for joining me. Much appreciated. I look forward to chatting with you as I work. I'm going to be doing about 45 minutes of working on a comic page here. And then, because today is a Monday, we will do about 15 to 20 minutes of Talkin comics. And today's comic is one I think I've mentioned it actually, so it would be nice to actually get to it. But I'm just going to dive in here and get to work, because making comics soothes my soul. If you're watching in the chat, please feel free to chat with me. I got to figure out where I was in the comic making process. I think I was here. Trying to put this cover to issue 2 to bed today. And I have a few things to do to make that happen. It's not too much. I've gotten most of the stuff that I wanted to get done, big picture done. And I'm pretty happy with how it's turned out, so, which doesn't always happen. Trust me. I just forgot something there. This is going to be for this series. I've decided that for certain covers, I'm gonna use them in the trade paperbacks as almost like like an extra page, and this is going to be basically page 1 of issue 2, but in the floppy version, it's going to be the cover. And I've found that, I think, let's see, 3 of the first 5 issues covers can be reused as basically additional pages inside the... Oh, that's not right. What happened there? There we go. I'm going to save the selection once I get it all set, so I don't have that problem again. There we go. Save that selection. All saved. But yeah, I've discovered that some of these pages can do double duty, which is nice, because it'll be a way to reuse work done. But in a, not in a cheap way, one way that actually makes sense. I didn't plan that. It just sort of happened that I was like, boy, this sure would make a really good first page, even though I've already done the first page. A good opening splash page to it. Just give it a little texture there. That's what I did. Looks like I forgot to switch out a layer. Okay. Gonna have to freehand this. I separated out some of the background here onto its own layers, and I guess I missed something here. Always check your layers. So let's cut and paste that out. Drag it down to where it belongs. There. Speaking of covers that will eventually be a first page, a couple weeks ago you guys saw me working on a cover for issue 5 and really frustrated by it, but I think I've solved the problems. I did 3 different versions of the pencils, showed them to my wife, and she agreed that this one was the best. I basically had to really make the crawl down the stairs steep, and then it worked, and sort of push them together and have her leaning on his hat. Then it started to work for me, and I really wanted her hand to be like right in the center of the O there too. But I also have to account for like publisher logo and number also there, and fit in the credits. But cover design is an interesting sort of side skill when it comes to comics. It's one of those things that you think, oh, that'd be easy. Do a cover, right? Cool, I get to do a cover. But no, it can be frustrating. I don't like that. I wanted to soften that up, but it didn't work for me. Let's see if I can go smaller. That's a little better. Okay. Now it's time to... What was it time to do? Oh. Do I have that saved? Talking to myself here. I do. Okay. So let's do... I'm gonna do this shading on the on all this on these bubble areas here. I'm gonna save that too, so I have that set. Let's create its own layer for this. We'll call it bubble shade. Set to multiply, and let's see what this looks like. Might have to increase the or make the line art underneath it a little darker. It's a little too light, but we'll see. We'll do that later. Take a second here to see if I missed any of the chat. Oh, all right. It's a good way of creating the form of the liquid that's bubbling over, because it just looks like sort of abstract drawings until I do this. This character's called the Crooked Magician in the story, and he works stirring these pots for 6 years to make the powder of life. Six years doing this, and our heroes just happen to show up right when he's done. What a coincidence. That's okay. This week's going to be pretty good for getting things done, I think. I'm getting really close to finishing up that Daredevil and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles piece I've been working on, finishing colors on that. I'll finally get to start coloring the Hellboy and Jawa piece, because I think I've got the inks done pretty much on that. That means all I have left to really sort of finish up commission-wise is the Captain America piece that I've been plugging away at. Oh, look at that, it's all done. Alright, I'm going to duplicate the line art here, so I test here. I can save. That's a little better. You can see the lines a little bit better there. That. All right. Let's see. I've got that all done. Let's finish this real quick. A little texture. All right. Couple things here to the line art. Just touch something up that I noticed. Wood texture there, not too much. Let's create some light in this guy. Okay. Where's my, there it is. So I can duplicate the character line art or character flats. Do that to it. Select the shade area and then cut that away. Switch to overlay. Turn it down a bit, and now get a little bit of more light, colored light on the character. Much better. Thank you, Mawishaslam. Much appreciated. Sorry if I butchered the name there. Yeah, it adds just a little bit more light and glow to the character. I think you need to distinguish the foreground and background a little bit more. So do this, save that selection. Although I don't need it. So always have to save a selection you might need in the future. Whoops. Still need to work on the title to make it pop a little more, but I'm sort of, I got it to a point where I thought it might work, and now I'm sort of working around it. But I want it to match to match the glow of the fire and the bubbles. That sets it against the purple of the purple and blue of the rest of the image. So I will be going with orange for the title. I just haven't decided how much to darken it to make it pop a little bit more. Where was I? Oh, I know where I am. Okay, so now it's time to, let's get rid of that. Add some stuff to the fire. Let me just open up my reference real quick, so I can reference myself. Know what I'm working on. Where are my pages? There they are. Just want to see what I've done in the past for. Yeah. Okay. So one thing I did was make these a little brighter. A little bit. Now we're gonna add some flicks. I call them my little flicks brush. Let's do. Get rid of that. Let's switch it to add mode. Increase the. I'm just gonna throw some on there for that pot. Then I'm gonna chip away at that a little bit. Let's use this brush. So they kind of fade as they come down. And then I want to get rid of them a little bit more up here so it's not blocking off my cool drawing of a foot. We don't want it to block the artwork too much or create weird tangents, but that's a good start. Let's see. I'm going to do a separate layer for the next pass so I don't disturb the previous one. Bring it down a little bit. just little flecks of light and bubbles. Give it some more life. All right. Next pot. So a little bit further in the background. So let's make these a little. Oh, that's just too much. Let's. I might go in afterwards and add like a few like individually placed flecks to make it look like they're falling down a little bit more, but right now I'm mostly interested in just getting the overall ones done. Can merge those layers, call it flex. I think that's what flex. I call them flex. I don't know what. You gotta name your layers, but sometimes they don't make any sense. All right, now, like I said, I'm gonna go in and add some. Add mode. Use my there. Just add a few placed. We'll turn those down a bit. Merge that down. Okay. Did I? Oh, I gotta change that on the previous page because I want them to be hot. So let's go in. Select the heat areas. And let's pick up right. There we go. Now we're going to go in and give the heat areas just some individual. Let's change to add. There we go. Duplicate that light layer, set it to color to give a little bit more orange into the the light areas, and then set it to low opacity overall, but then I'm going to go in, add another layer, set the color mode also, and we're just going to throw a little bit more color and light into the face and feet, just to make them a little bit more orange. Just a little bit. I wish it looked the same on the video screen the way it does here. On mine, you can really see the contrast in the purples and the oranges. It's not quite as much on the video, unfortunately, but it is what it is. It's 3:30. So what am I missing? This might be a case of having to step away from it and then come back to it. Something I talk about a lot on the live stream. Let's see. I'm gonna try to add to the smoke. Where is it? Where's my... I think this is the brush. Let's see if I can do this without... I'm not sure if it's gonna work. Yeah, I might just need to leave that a little different than the other pages because it's gonna get in the way of the text. It's best to have that subdued up there and just sort of implicate. Although, what I could do... I think I did this in the other pages too. Just add some white texture flecks up here. Have it fade off up there. Just to throw a little bit more texture into it. Now, I'll lower the opacity on this because I don't want it this bright, but I wanted a little bit more visual information up there. I think that's enough. Again, there's going to be a publisher logo here and the issue number, my little circle that I usually use. Turn around and show you real quick. It's going to be issue 2, but this is, I use sort of a hand-drawn issue number or chapter, as I'm probably going to call them. Same with my my Oddly Normal series from Image Comics. Can be hand-drawn numbers, and then the publisher logo will go in right next to it. So I always got to leave that stuff. Leave room for that stuff. Ooh, I just realized I had a scrim on. Okay. trying to think what else I need to do here, but it's probably as done as it's going to be until I like do a final, final pass on it. One thing I can do before I switch over is where is it? Oh, there's that. Probably darken up the title a little bit. I won't bore you with that right now, but let's see if I can just do a quick one, though. Maybe I do want to bore you. See, it's too dark. If I go full dark like that, I'm going to have to go in and hand paint a little bit of darkness to the lower half, just to make it pop a bit more. And I think that this might need to be lightened up. We'll see. Otherwise, it's pretty much done. Pretty much. It'll work, like I said, as a cover and as a single page in the eventual trade paperback, which I've already solicited because the book world is crazy. You got to solicit things like a year in advance. So I literally 2 weeks ago already solicited for the trade paperback, for the first trade paperback of Petroglyph of Oz for the book world. I have not even solicited for the first issue for the series yet, to Diamond Previews and all that stuff. But yeah, the book world is weird. Anyway, that's all for making comics today. It was I can knock off one process on my to-do list, so that's nice. All right, so we're gonna switch over to Talkin comics. Let me just get them ready here real quick. So today I'm going to talk about something that I mentioned. Make sure that the video is good for this. I think I got to turn my other light on. Brighten things up a bit. There we go. So this is actually what's it called? Facsimile edition. Marvel and DC have both been putting out facsimile editions of certain comic titles over the last few years, and I've been grabbing them when I can because they're really great. Especially these Marvel ones that are basically, I mean, it's in the name facsimile, but they reproduce comics exactly as they were printed, with the ads and everything. It's on better paper, and the print quality is a little nicer, obviously. But you get to see what the comic was like when it first came out. And that's not why I'm showing you this, but I do want to show off a little bit of how great it is seeing these old ads, seeing the comics exactly the way they were when they were. Oh, look at these ads; they're so cool. I remember these. They're really great. I've got a huge stack of these, and I'm probably going to go through some of them as I move on with the Makin and Talkin comics episodes. Go through them here and there. But what I wanted to talk about today was specifically how this comic relates to another comic. And I mentioned this, I think in the first episode I was talking about XMen 174, which is the comic that made me fall in love with comics. And after that, getting into comics through that issue, and then reading XMen 175, which was the 20th anniversary, or 20th anniversary of Marvel, or X-Men, probably 20th. And it was a special double-sized issue where the X-Men thought that Jean Grey had returned, Phoenix had returned, blah, blah, blah. And after reading that, they came out with a like the first trade that I ever saw, which was a reprinting of the Dark Phoenix saga, and it was so great. You know, having just fallen in love with these characters and the stories, and basically getting to go back and read those comics as sort of you know, a long flashback sequence, because I didn't have access to those comics the way that you do now. You either had to actually go find the back issues, or, like I said, the trade. The story was so important to Marvel that they put it into a trade paperback form, and I'm pretty sure that was the first one. Could be wrong, but anyway, one of the great things after reading, and this issue is the end of the Dark Phoenix saga, basically. It's where they have to fight for Jean at the end, and Jean, spoilers, sorry, but it's been out for a while. Jean basically sacrifices herself to save her companions. And I remember after reading the trade paperback for the story, just being blown away at the storytelling, the tragedy, the boldness of killing off a main character, which to me was just monumental in my like, you know, 11-year-old brain. It was a really great story to get into the X-Men. And in my mind, Jean Grey is still dead. I stopped reading the X-Men comics when they put out X Factor #1 and brought her back cheaply. So in my mind, that was the end of the X-Men story. But this is what I really wanted to talk about today, which is the next issue, 138, and this is the oldest issue of X-Men that I have from the Byrne Claremont run. I have some from the original run in the 60s and 70s, up until like issue, I think it was like 68, and they stopped doing it and they did reprints for a while. X-Men has a weird publication history. Anyway, this is the next issue in the sequence right after the Dark Phoenix saga ended, and this is the actual comic. This is the real one from 1980, and I talked about this in the episode where I talked about X-Men 174, and how reading this issue was like a history lesson for the X-Men for me. But I wanted to discuss it in the context of how to basically bring new readers in and update them when you have a long history of something, especially in the comics world, where if you're publishing regularly and you gain a library over a number of years, there's a certain point where if you don't have an easy way to tell your readers, you know, for your readers to access the story so far, this issue is my favorite way of recapping. It begins with Jean Grey's funeral, and starting on page 2, we basically go into Scott's thoughts here, and he basically, you know, through his memories of thinking about Jean and the X family that he's a part of, he recaps, or I should say, Claremont and Byrne recap the history of the X-Men over the course of the issue. I love how wonderfully they did it, you know, reincorporating the current time and sharing his reflections on the characters and the events that led them all to that point of the Dark Phoenix saga. You even get a little bit of overall Marvel history in this issue too, and you get moments that maybe you didn't see in the actual old comics, but were implied. It's really great storytelling. I love this recap, and I look at it a lot. I don't really necessarily take out this comic because I don't want it to get, you know, it's what, 44 years old now. Wow, 44 years. Wow. I don't want it to get manhandled too much. I keep it bagged and board, but I have one of the Marvel Masterworks, and I look at that a lot. That's just to look at how elegantly Claremont and Byrne recapped what at that point was, I guess, about 15, 16 years of history, not counting the time when they were just doing reprints, because XMen was canceled at a certain point, like I said, around issue 68, I think, and then reprinted until like issue 100 when they brought out the all new XMen. But the whole issue, it just goes on until basically it leads you right up to the point of the Dark Phoenix saga, and then you get up to here, to the end, and they do something that makes this also a really special issue. They introduce a new character, Kitty Pryde, who comes to the X Mansion, shows up. It's really elegant storytelling. It's a great way of recapping the past, setting the emotions for the characters in their current form, telling you where they are in their emotional lives, in the lives of this overall story, and then setting up the future. And Claremont even puts the beginning on the last panel here to tell readers, that part of the story is over, and it was a rough go, albeit a really great story. But there's more to come, and here's a new character that you're gonna get to grow along with. I really love it. Really love it. Great issue. Great. It's unfortunate that this issue is not included in the trade paperback for the Dark Phoenix saga, because to me it should be the very end. I mean, it's the final emotional end of the story, and should be there. It really should. It's too bad it's not reprinted that way. Anyway, sometimes these episodes of Making and Talking Comics are going to be about process. Sometimes they're going to be about comics that I love, and sometimes they're going to be just about memory lane type stuff. This one, I hope, was a little bit of all three, because I do love these. I think that the way that they tell the story. I mean, look at the background, the photostat background for this. It's copies of X-Men comics. This cover is so amazing. Even though it has this horrible ad up here, it's still an effective and amazing cover. You almost don't even see the stupid ad. Anyway, that's today's episode of Making and Talking Comics. I think on Friday's episode of Making and Talking Comics, I'll do something a little bit more process focused, but I really wanted to look at this comic again and just sort of talk about how much I loved it and how much I love the storytelling involved. All right, that's all for today. Thank you all so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, share, and all that good stuff on YouTube, X, Instagram, Rumble, and Facebook, the 5 places that I currently stream to. I'll be back tomorrow with work on, I think it's the Hellboy Commission. Hopefully I'll have that inked up and ready to start coloring. We'll see. Take care.